Hi, my name's Lee Matthews and I'm a physiotherapist at Queen's Hospital. I'm part of the pain management team, and in amongst the things we encounter, one of them is people with a more widespread pain. Sometimes that can be conditions like fibromyalgia, and we know that through doing a series of stretches each day it can help to reduce the impact of our pain on our lives. It allows us to move more freely, eases muscle tension, lubricates joints, and you tend to find if you can incorporate these into your day and do them regularly, after a couple of months you find that you can move a bit more freely, and it might actually be you have less severity of your pain when you're doing your daily tasks. So there's a good reason for doing them. I'm going to start off by doing a warm-up. I'm going to do it in standing, but again you can do it in the chair, and for the rest of the stretches they'll largely be based in the chair, but again if you find it's a challenge to sit down you can do them in standing, so they're there to be adapted. So we'll begin by doing the same warm-up we did with the previous section. So first of all, let's think about rolling those shoulders. We'll do some large shoulder rolls going forwards. Do about 4 or 5 of those, might get a few pops and creaks. And then let's do some shoulder rolls going backwards. And again, if you want to have some music on while you're doing this, you'd be more than welcome. That's good. So the next movement we're going to do is to try and poke our chest out and pinch those shoulders together. So I'm really squeezing between the shoulder blades there. Hold for about 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then relax. And one more time. That's good. We then do our nodding dog movement for the warm-up. So I'm going to just make a small movement of nodding up and down, and then moving to look over towards one shoulder, and then back to the other side. And again, one more time to each side. There we go. So you can give those arms a shake. Our next movement is that rotation movement. So I've brought my feet a little bit wider apart. You might want to have a chair in front of you or behind you so you've got some support with this one. And what I'm going to do, bring the arms out in front to the sides, swing around from side to side. And notice as I do that movement, I follow my head movements with my arms. This is a nice way of easing out any tension in your back. And that's that one. Very similar to that, we're going to do a movement, but this time you can either have your arms on your shoulders or out in front of you, and I'm going to keep looking directly in front of me as I do the movement. So there we go, over to one side, and that focuses that rotation movement more around where the rib cage is. And then give those arms a shake. So we've done the warm-up for the upper body, and now there's a few leg stretches that we do, well, leg warm-up movements. So the first one I'm going to do is that ankle pump movement. So I'm going to do a little bit of a pump on one side than the other. Again, have that support if you need it. And again, this can be done sat in the chair. And the other one we do with our ankles is making circles. So I'm going to keep the heel on the ground. I can have some weight through that leg still. And I'm going to make some circles, first one way. And then I'm going to swap direction. So whichever way you went the first time, swap over. And then the same on the other leg. So here we go. making circles one way, and then swap directions. That's good. And then last of all, with our warm up, just shake those legs, a bit like you've got a stone in your shoe. There we go. And we're ready for our stretches. So let's bring ourselves into the chair. So bring one of your arms up in front of you or have it on the table, and let's begin by bringing the thumb away from the fingers, and that's going to stretch that first web space in here. Now you might just hold that on its own, or you can again add a very gentle self over pressure, and then we'll carry on stretching the other web spaces of the fingers. So here we go. I go to move that finger, the index finger, moving it towards the thumb, feeling a stretch there. Again, I can use my fingers to add a little extra stretch on there, and carry on walking the fingers across towards the thumb. And again, if you want to add that extra stretch, you're welcome to. It's a bit of a test of your coordination as well. There we go. And whatever we've done on one side, let's do the same on the other. So there we go, bringing the thumb out. And again, if you want to add an extra stretch, you can. And then moving that index finger away, add that extra bit of a stretch if you need to, if you want to. Middle finger goes along to join it. And then the ring finger. There we go. And I'm going to do the same twice on each hand. If you want to have some music on in the background, by all means make it more entertaining. And then the same on the other side again. So there goes my thumb. And again, I'm doing this, you can see what I'm doing, but you could have your hand flat on your lap, you could have your hand on the table in front of you. And if you're really irritable with things like rheumatoid in your knuckles, just stick with the movement on its own and that's fine. There we go. So you've done some stretches for those knuckles, but there's another movement they also do. Sometimes our hand can get a little bit tight with the knuckles in opening the hand. Again, don't overstretch with this one, but I'm going to lay the hand out flat, and then I'm going to pop the thumb of my other hand behind the knuckles there. Can you see that? And then I'm going to use my other fingers of the other hand top and just gently apply some pressure there. So it's just encouraging the hand to open flat. There we go. And I hold that for again about 10 seconds, and then relax, and then I do the same again. So I open the hand flat. I take my thumb of the other hand behind. So I've opened the hand out and I'm just going to apply some pressure there. So again, those knuckles aren't designed to move beyond a certain point. So if you're a bit double jointed, please don't go hoiking them too far, but you should just feel a nice stretch along the knuckles there. And let's do the same on the other side. So again, I open the hand out flat, and then I place the thumb behind those knuckles. I put my fingers palm, pad to pad with the other fingers, and then I apply some pressure there. Just trying to open the hand out nice and flat, and then relax, and we do that one more time. So there we go, I open the hand out, straightening those knuckles, and add that pressure on there. About 10 seconds. That's good. So we're now going to move up the forearm to these other groups of muscles on the front and back of the forearm. So first of all, if we go to bring the palm up in front of you, a bit like you're stopping the traffic, and again, that's the easiest version, just doing that movement. What I can do to increase the level of the stretch is by straightening the forearm. So we've just increased the tension there, and the final progression on that would be to use the other hand to add an extra stretch there. So you, again, stick with the variation that works for you. And then relax, and then the same again. So stop the traffic with the bent elbow. If you want to progress that, you can do it with a straighter arm. And then the final progression is adding that hand on that self over pressure. And let's do the same to the other side. So again, stop the traffic, If you want to, you can have the elbow straight, and then the other progression is to have the palm giving that extra little bit of tension there, and you're going to feel that all the way along the underside of your forearm. And one more time. So stop the traffic with all that straight elbow, adding that pressure on there. So with all these stretches, we often stretch one group and then we'll stretch the counterpart. So if that's the way we've done it for that one, we've got to do the opposite of that now. So here we go. I'm going to make my hand go into a fist and just curl it down. And you're going to feel that all along those tendons on the front of your knuckles. Feel it into the forearm there. And again, in the same way, we can increase the stretch by bringing the elbow into a straightened position, and then I can use my other hand to add an extra stretch on there. And let's do that again. So again, making a fist, straighten the elbow if you wish to do so, and then use your hand to add that extra stretch. And then let's do that on the other side. So again, make a fist, curl the knuckles down to the floor. If you want to do so, straighten the elbow, and then the final progression, so using the other hand. And one more time. So there you go, make a fist, roll those knuckles down to the floor, straighten the elbow, and add that extra stretch. And I can definitely feel that along the top of my wrist and into the knuckles. You go gentle with these, yeah, like if you're grimacing or if it really hurts, then you're pushing too far, and you just start with the gentler options. So give those hands a little shake there, and we're now going to bring our attention up towards the shoulders. So I want you to imagine that we're going to give a big hug to a tree here. So I'm going to bring my arms around, really making a big gap between my shoulder blades as I do that. So that's our initial stretch. It's just that really big wide hug, like you're hugging a big trunk of a tree. And the progression we can do that, I can then twist around towards one side. There you go. And if you wanted to add an even bigger stretch on there, I can take the hand and actually pull on that further. And you're going to feel that right into your shoulder blade, because those muscles, when we're stressed, when we're sore around there, can get really tight. And let's do that to the other side, shall we? So again, I'm going to rotate around the other way, and it might just be that that's all we do. But again, if you wish to, take the other hand, hold the wrist, and add that extra stretch on there. That's good. And as with all of these things, let's do it again to the other side. So we've done 2 to each side. So again, you might just be sticking with this, and that's perfectly okay, yeah. But if you're okay with it, rotate round and add that extra stretch. And then again to the other side. Twist. Add that extra stretch. And then you can relax again. Hold on. So we're now going to move on to doing some neck stretches. We've started to stretch all around the shoulder. Now, a lot of people end up in positions and desks and driving their cars who are all with a pokey chin. This is a really nice stretch for counteracting that pokey chin posture. And what we're going to do, we're going to just draw the chin backwards. It's almost like I'm trying to move my nose away from something coming towards me. And notice with this, I don't go down, I don't go up, it's a straight backwards movement. And the progression with this, as I go back and hold it there, is I can also spread my arms wide, opening my chest up. And then relax again. It's a really nice one because it opens up the space where all the nerves come out in our neck, and it's a really good one because it helps to strengthen the postural muscles of the neck as well. So here we go. Chin tuck backwards, plus or minus, opening those arms wide and really stretching the front of the chest there. You might feel this right down to between your shoulder blades, because we can often get quite stiff there. And then relax. That's good. So we're now going to go through the other movements that our neck does. And if we think about the movements, one of the movements we do is going forwards and backwards. So again, if you feel giddy, if you feel dizzy with looking up and down, just do what's right for you. But my first movement I'm going to do is a small tilt of the head downwards and hold, and you might feel this in the top of your neck there, and then back to the middle again. And again, we can build on that by progressing then into a fuller stretch. And again, we can add that overpressure by popping your hands on your head. Now again, go gentle with this, you know, but I can feel that right down below my shoulder blades. And then back up again, and one more time. So you just stick with the tilt if you want to. If you want to then progress into that fuller bend of the whole spine, plus or minus that self overpressure. And obviously the counterpart to that movement is going to be looking upwards. So again, if you feel giddy or dizzy when you look up, just do what feels right for you. So it might be a small movement where effectively you're angled up towards what would be about 45 degrees, and that's where the wall would meet the ceiling if you were looking up in a normal room. And if you feel comfortable with that, you might then take another hand, you know, if you've got a good shoulder, you might use the arm that's more comfortable to do so. And again, feel that stretch going all the way down to between the shoulder blades. And back up. And I'll do that one more time. So again, small movement, and then progressing that. And back to the start position. So we've done movements of forward and backwards, and now let's focus on doing a sideways movement. So I'm going to move my chair around now. So if I go to tilt my head over to the side, you're going to feel quite a significant stretch between the neck down to the shoulder blade. Now that might be enough for some of you, but if you wish to progress that, we can increase the lever length by having the arm out at about 45 degrees. And the final progression on that is using the hand to give that extra stretch. It's not a particularly nice movement, to be honest, but it does ease tension and it does help. And then back to the other side again, so it might just be the movement on its own. If you want to add the arm in, and then the final progression, adding that hand on there. And if people are really sore, if you're really struggling, it might just be that doing that movement, laying down in your bed, just the side to side movement. Sometimes I get people to lay on a plastic bag or something that's shiny, and just literally in the morning, just getting the neck moving. If you're really stiff and tight there, that can help. So with the side flexion, we'll make sure we've done 2 to each side. And then one last time, the movement on its own, with the arm if you want to, with the overpressure if you want to. That's good. So we're getting through those movements. We've done forwards and backwards, we've done the side bend, and now what we also need to do is some rotation. So I'm going to sit myself away from the back of the chair just to allow some freedom of movement here. And I'm not going to just move from my neck, I'm going to do the upper back as well. And the way I do that, if you take one hand, so in your case it might be your right hand, pop it over your left thigh, and I'm just going to hold the chair with the other hand, and I'm going to twist over towards what will be your left shoulder, and I'm going to twist from my shoulders as well. And remember, just relax, and it might be as you go to breathe out, you can go that little bit further. And let's do the same to the other side. So again, if you take your left hand over your right thigh, and what we're going to do, sit up nice and tall, twist to look over towards your right, and then try and twist those shoulders as well. So you're turning around as far as you can towards your right. And again, we'll do one more to each side. Here we go. I'm going to bring your right hand over your left thigh, look over your left shoulder as far as you can, and try and, if you put some pressure on that thigh, you can actually help to push yourself around a bit further. And one more time to the side. So again, take your left hand over your right thigh, looking over your left shoulder, so your right shoulder as far as you can, and twisting towards your right. And relax. Well, we're nearly there. There's just a couple of other stretches that I wanted to do. One of them is for this muscle that can get quite tight into your shoulder. So the way we're going to stretch that, I'm going to bring my nose down to look over my pocket. So bringing it over towards one side, and you hopefully will feel a stretch going between the top of your neck down into your shoulder blade. And again, if you want to, you can hold onto the chair with that hand, and on the other hand I'm going to just apply some pressure and relax. The same to the other side. So again, I'm going down in front of me but not in the middle, over towards the pocket, so my nose is over my pocket on the other side. I'm going to hold onto the chair for a progression, and then the final progression, use my hand. And then come back up again. Let's do one more of those on each side. So nose over pocket, hold the chair, add that extra stretch. One more time. And that brings us to a close with our second section of stretches, which are largely aimed at the neck and the upper limbs. Hopefully you found them of benefit, and keep on trying to build up towards doing all of them. Build up towards doing them each day, and ideally a couple of times a day would be useful. Thanks for watching.